back to my channel. My name is Anna and this is my third video. Today, as you see, I worked with the lighting and I made sure that the lighting is good. It's during the day and it's not at night, and the quality is actually, I already see, can be better. So today's video I decided to do about the different types of materials when you're starting the art journey, or when you're starting to try to figure out which brushes to buy, what materials to use, because there's so many different videos on YouTube that don't talk about the actual basic stuff, and I don't understand, like, if I would be starting today, there's so many tons of information, there's so little information that is useful, and there's so many information which is divided on like 5 million different videos where you cannot really tell. So my job was to figure out and record a video where I can show you 3 or 4 different types of main brushes that you'd actually use. I also explain that they're important, but they're not as important as like, you don't have to use all the 12 different types of brushes. Of course, sometimes it's needed, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you can figure out a lot of things with just 3 brushes and 3 papers, or like canvas. Like, it's not that crazy. The knowledge is very important. That's why, if you would like, I will do maybe a more in detail video about like actual all the types of brushes, actual all the type of papers. But for now, I want to do more of a, if you're starting today, or if you would like to figure out what you would like to do, I will give you like 3, 4, 5 different brushes that you can start with. I can provide the information of the materials other than that, and you can just like basically go and buy the stuff. You don't have to like stress about all the types of things and not know what to do with them and not know where to use them. So that was the idea of why I decided to do this topic. And of course, the material you are buying is very important. The quality of the stuff gives the quality of the product. Why? So the main thing I was trying to say is that quality is very important, and you have to always pay attention on quality. Quantity is a second thing, but the knowledge is also very important. So overall, why the material is important? The most important question that a lot of people don't know about is because you can always experiment, you can always do different things, you can always figure out different ways of how to proceed with any art or painting or whatever you would like to do, and I'm here to describe and tell you where you can start with, which brushes you should have. I actually prepared today a lot of things. So one of them is, for example, these gel brushes. This is just one of the parted brushes I usually use on a common daily basis, and I don't use for paintings 5 brushes. I use usually 2 or 3 in the day where I'm painting. Like, so that's a part I want to share with you. So what is very important to know is that there are so many different types. As I said, there are different types with the different types of the hair it's been used on the brushes. So for example, this one, it's a round brush but has a very thick hairs. So for the regular, watercolor painting or watercolor drawing, you won't need to use something like this. It has to be going with something more soft. There are also flat brushes that exist, and they have a different types of hairs as well. So for example, here, this is a flat brush. I will be showing all the close-ups after or during a video, so you will see what I'm talking about. So flat brushes are very nice to be used in the different surfaces and having it cover more and plenty of the stuff. Round brushes are better for the stuff that where you can use more detail. Round brush is the brush that is mostly commonly used. It has a round shape. Again, close-ups to follow, and it has a lot of I guess the train is coming to Hogwarts to take me today. Is it here? I wish. But round brush is commonly used. You can paint with this brush everything. Like, basically you can paint everything. Mainly I use this brush to paint whatever I need to paint, and honestly I love it so much. All of them, they have different types of thicknesses. It depends on what you're looking for. They're usually numbered, as you see, like over here. Again, probably I will show the close-ups better. And the most needed brush for your painting.
Here is a round brush that I'm showing to you. Basically this one is the one that has a bigger number, so it's a little bit bigger than the first one I showed you. It has very soft and nice hairs that are commonly used, and one of my favorites as well.
There are also flat brushes. As I said, they exist to more create of covering more spaces. Very nice to use. Love them a lot.
Flat brushes are usually having a square shape, as well as you can see right over here. This one is a smaller size brush, so I mainly use it for smaller paintings and really love it as well.
The third brush that my favorite is the angle brush. It has an angle and it's very nicely used to also, as you see, it looks flat. It's really very nice to use to paint different sort of details where you can have an angle type of thing. I love to paint some waves, sometimes for the smaller paintings I like to do backgrounds with this brush. Very recommend, very nice if you have to have some angle details, and if you, for example, finishing the painting edges, this is better than the flat brush, definitely 100%. So this is the third brush that I commonly use, and it's something I really love a lot.
Here you can see a close-up of the angled brush. This particular brush is a smaller size and it has soft hairs. By the way, each brush can have as soft hairs as hard hairs as well.
Number 4 is the brush that is called like a detail brush. It has a very small, I will try to show in the background, has a very small amount of hairs, but this is mainly used for like a small details where you need to show like where you need to, like, you know, paint some small things like eyes or some lighting. Like basically all the small details are done usually by small brushes like this, and I really love those type of things because it's so hard to mess up the painting when you don't have a small brush. So it's a highly recommended. This type of brushes 1,000,000% recommend to go for a very good quality, because small quality, first will lose hairs very quickly, and second, it's not gonna give the same result, because if the hairs will fall out on the painting, your painting basically will have hairs there, then you'll try to remove the hair and it's gonna mess up the whole painting. So
definitely try to use a good quality. But here I'm showing the small brush where you can see that how tiny actually it is, and there is just a little bit amount of hair.
And last but not least is these two brushes. So basically what's the idea of them? I will put them in one thing. I know that they're completely two different brushes, but this one is the brush that you can, as you see, it has a very soft but very round type of shape. And it's usually used for different, it depends of course on the artist, but I personally like to blend over all of the different things, like if I'm painting a background or clouds or even sea, ocean type of thing, to blend. It's very nice, very beautiful. Sometimes if I want, I also use this type of brush to just to fill out the background, the space, because it's also big, pretty big, and it's very nice and it's soft, so whenever you're painting with it, it gives you a very smooth result. The second one, it's more of a flat brush. It's mainly used also for the background use, and where you have the edges, put it across the painting and you will be able to cover so many things. As well, it's able to, whenever you need some strokes like straight and have a lot of volume, you can always use this paintbrush. I personally love it the most for the backgrounds, even more than this one, but again, it depends on my mood, it depends what I would like to do. So that's all about the paint brushes. I really love these 5 the most, and I usually use most of them. The only thing I think I would also recommend as a backup for the trees, for example, or some detailing like this, is this type of brush. But even this one I don't use as much. I still do it with a round brush with a smaller size, because sometimes these types of brushes don't give me the result that I love, so I don't really use them as
Here
much.
you can see bigger brush that I was talking first about. As you can see how soft hairs are and how nicely they can actually blend everything. Very lovely brush. And here we go with the thicker one, another one. This particular one has thicker hairs, and it's again a bigger flat brush, but I still want to mention because of the background.
And let's go and come to the papers right now. Another thing that is very important is papers, and whichever material you are trying to use. Papers are always existing for whatever materials you're trying to do. So if you like to use acrylic paints, canvases, or a special paper is very important. You cannot use it on a regular sketch paper. It's gonna soak in and have the back of it showing all the paint you use. Same as with watercolor, you always have to go for the watercolor paper.
Here, for example, you can see a watercolor paper. Watercolor is mainly made for the watercolor paints. You can of course do it by pencil or pens. And here I'm showing the texture of it, so you actually can see how it's thick. Another one is an oil color paper. That one exists. It doesn't have to be a canvas, and it has a very more thicker texture and specifically made for the oil paints. Here are some live examples that I wanted to show. This one is made in watercolor, and there are some pen additions made on top after it's already dried, so you can see that how it actually looks, and has just one layer basically. And here it's oil on paper, where you can clearly see how thick texture is. You can see the texture is actually showing. It's all made out of oil paints, just like that, and it looks actually way different. And here, for example, how oil painting would look on canvas. This is a small canvas painting that I have. It's basically just the start of the painting. I didn't finish it yet, but you can see how canvas is actually having a thick. It's made on top of the base. Canvas itself is like, we can sell it. Let's say it's like a type of fabric, but I can give that information more closely if it's needed. But yeah, it staples on top of the actual wooden frame usually, and looks like this. This is just a small one, but it can have way more dividers in between and has a way different textures than the paper.
And if you're talking about only the drawings, you can always use the papers. Papers is just a matter of whatever material you're also using. I'm trying to get the stuff.
So here is one of the sketches I've done on a black paper. Basically, their thickness is not as much matters because I used either white pencils or white pens. And you can see some detailing of the first one. Here's some Niagara Falls. So I just try to use different materials. And here we are talking about markers. Marker paper also should be different. It's also used for the drawings, but markers can leak. So you have to make sure the marker paper is specifically made for markers. And here I decided to show some of the drawing sketches I've done. Some of them are from school, some of them, as you see, there's a portrait of one of my friends. So I'm just trying to show you how different textures can be. And markers doesn't mean that you have to use just markers. It can be used pens on top to add details, or some pencils even to just create some different types of depth, some different types of textures, show the different types of materials, or white pens. As you see here, I have a lot of different detailing done by different types of materials, not just markers. But markers definitely need such a nice, very light paper, and it's very transparent as well. Like you can see it's through. And here's a quick close-up of some of the different types of even paints or materials that I love to use. If we are talking about acrylic paints, those ones are the most used acrylics. I'm just showing you the brands so you can see, and the sizes I'm like mainly using. Of course, there are all the different colors, not just those two. As well, some oil and oil paints, as you can see. Those ones are my mainly favorite brands. Markers as well. Those ones are the mainly ones I've been using. And pens, just a basic one and the specific one for the drafting as well.
Final thing, I just want to say that the most important is to use the materials that makes you the most comfortable. The most important is to just try different things, but not concentrate on the amount of brushes or the amount of papers or the amount of things. You can always start with just 1 or 2 brushes, one paper for specific paint you have, or whichever you will buy, and that's it. That's all that matters. You don't have to stress about anything else, and you don't have to go for a crazy amount of high-end or different types of materials. It's just a matter of one specific paint for one specific paper and specific materials for this as well. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm really thankful for your interest in my YouTube channel, and that hopefully you got some information over here as well. As I said in the beginning, that if you would like, I can do more detailed video about all the types of brushes, all the type of papers, but I just wanted to show whichever I personally use and whichever I personally find the most effective and the most interesting and the most like basically making sense. So yeah, if you have any questions, you always know where to contact me. Thank you so much. All the materials will be in description below.
And thank you so much for your support and for watching this video. I hope you will enjoy it, and I'll see you soon. Bye. Have a great day or evening or morning, whichever you will have.